Persian Empire, one of the greatest empires in the world, was greatly expanding during the first years of the 5th century. Their ever-expanding empire couldn't be beat, and in an instant they were expanding into mainland Europe. Their ruler, Darius I, set his eyes on the Greek city-states. The reason for why Persia decided the Greek city-states were next is unknown. Wealth and resources did not seem to be a motive. One motive could be the rebellious city-states on the western border. In 499 BC, Greek cities revolted against the rulers who were sent to watch over them. They called the rulers tyrants and despised being under their rule. Athens and Etruria sent troops to help them during the rebellion. However, due to a lack of planning, the rebellion was easily put down, and Darius saw the remaining Greek city-states as a threat. Darius sent word to the city-states to accept Persian rule or else. Many city-states agreed, but Athens and Sparta denied. They didn't put up with the disrespect and actually executed their envoys. Envoys are basically high-class messengers. Persia often used them in order to get cities or countries to submit to their rule without even having to fight. These executions angered Darius, and his plans to take over Greece was now in full effect. In response to Athens and Sparta's decision to execute his envoys, Darius launched a naval force of 600 ships and 25,000 men to attack the Cyclades. The Cyclades were a group of islands situated between the Greek mainland and Turkey. The battles were successful for the Persian naval force. This spot to attack was actually picked by Darius because it left the Persians very close to the rest of the Greek city-states. This would allow the Persians to have easy access to the rest of the city-states. The Cyclades could work as sort of a base for the Persian forces, and in a way, they could get resources close to their troops. Then, in 490 BC, Greek forces led by Athenians fought the Persian invaders at Marathon. The Athenian-led Greek troops successfully fought off the Persians, but this victory marked the start of an era of death and destruction for both Persia and for Greece. Then, in 486 BC, Darius died. Xerxes was the first king to ever make massive steps towards preparation of invading Greece, as he was next. He felt like he needed revenge and needed to finish Darius' plans. The massive Persian army only grew during this preparation, and now they were marching through Greece to conquer it all. When hearing about this, the city-states agreed to send about 6,000 to 7,000 men to defend a pass at Thermopylae. The Persians had to cross this point in order to invade Greece, so it makes sense to defend right there. The pass was narrow, and you're able to get a force of troops right in the middle to defend. The Greeks sent a naval force of 300 warships 40 miles away from Thermopylae to prevent the Persian naval force from advancing. Among the 6,000 to 7,000 troops was King Leonidas of the Spartans. Leonidas was a great military leader and well respected by the troops he led. The Persian forces advanced into the 15-mile wide gap with their about 80,000 to 300,000 force, and they waited for 4 days. Xerxes sent another group of envoys to try to convince the Greeks to flee without much blood being shed. Leonidas' response was Molon Labe, which basically means, "Come and get us." The two armies had very different fighting styles. The Persians relied on a long-range barrage of arrows from archers and then ran in with a cavalry attack. The Greek army relied on their heavily fortified phalanx defense, in which each man carried a bronze rounded shield with spears and swords as a secondary weapon. Persians also often had a bow with 2 javelins for throwing and thrusting. Although the Greeks were outnumbered, the layout of the pass would fit their fighting style and give them a better chance against a large Persian force. Dionysius, often referred to as the bravest Spartan warrior at Thermopylae, was told that the Persians' barrage of arrows would be such a heavy attack that it would block out the sun. Dionysius responded with probably one of the coolest one-liners ever. He said, "Good, then we'll have our battle in the shade." The bravery portrayed by the Greeks at Thermopylae would have to hold up though. The Persians had a bunch of arrows, but they were lightweight. The armor and shields of the Greeks were able to withstand a lot of arrows before giving in. After the first day, Xerxes sent in his elite troops. These troops were heavily trained, disciplined, and armored. They were called immortals, as it was said that their number never went under 10,000. The Persian elites rushed the Greeks, and in a bloody, up-close and personal battle, the Greeks came through. They had a secret tactic. They faked a retreat, luring the enemy in, and then instantly put themselves in the phalanx defense. This tactic proved effective against the immortal Persian troops. The second day, the Greeks still held strong. They withstood the Persian forces again, but that was about to change. A traitor was in their midst. A shepherd by the name of Ephialtes was seeking a reward from Xerxes. He told Xerxes of a hidden alternate pass, which would give the Persians a flank on the southern side of the Greek forces. And then Leonidas found out about the traitor. He didn't want all the fighting to just end up with all 7,000 troops dead, so he ordered a majority of the Greek troops to retreat. Then day 3 came. Leonidas gathered the surviving troops out of the original about 300 Spartans. They moved to the wider part of the pass in order to have all of them fighting at once as a unified force. The 300 troops were surrounded though, and with Persian cavalry and archers in the front and the immortals in the back, there was nothing they could do. In the ensuing fight, Leonidas was killed. Meanwhile, in the sea, the Persian fleet suffered hundreds of ship losses because of storms. The Greeks cornered the Persian ships, and the Persians' numbers were cut down greatly. With the battle lost at Thermopylae, though, the Greek ships were forced to retreat. After hearing about Leonidas' death, his brother, Cleombrotus, gathered a force of troops to defend near Corinth. The two sides had many meetings and tried to work it out diplomatically. But it was clear that no diplomatic resolve would be met because both sides were just so stubborn. The two sides decided on fighting a final battle to decide the ultimate victor. The two sides fought the final battle in 479 BC at Plataea. The Persian cavalry, along with their immortals, unified for this battle. The Persian force was fed up and angry that the Greeks had been able to defend their attacks for so long at Thermopylae. The Greeks had built up a very large army though. In fact, it was the largest Greek army ever to be seen. The following battle was bloody and brutal. Thousands of people on each side lost their lives fighting. But it was clear the Persian immortals weren't so immortal in this battle. Many lost their lives to the great Greek phalanx defense. The Greeks were able to win the battle at Plataea and destroy Xerxes' chances of taking over Greece. Leonidas and the rest of the Greek soldiers' sacrifice was worthwhile. They stood up for something they believed in and fought with everything they had. They allowed the rest of the Greek troops to retreat while they sacrificed themselves for the greater good. The bravery shown by the entirety of the Greek troop is said to be unmatched in history. Almost 300,000 Persian archers and immortals against 6,000 or 7,000 Greek troops seemed impossible. But against all odds, the Greeks held their own against the Persian Empire. The Greeks lost about 2,000 to 4,000 men, and the Persians lost 20,000 or more. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'm really glad to have been able to share the information about the bravery and determination of the Greeks at the Battle of Thermopylae. It's something I really find interesting, so to be able to share this information with someone is awesome. This has been Think First TV, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.